Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, March 26, 2020. Today we are going to discuss the latest with the coronavirus and the latest event that got postponed. Baseball, today was supposed to be opening day, and a lot of the networks and apps are airing or re-airing old games that are classics from this century. Recap of Masked Singer and Lego Masters. Some more things like my NFL mock draft and my top 10 players of 2019 in Major League Baseball. All right, we're going to start with the coronavirus. The biggest thing to come out since I last recorded is that the Indy 500 was moved to August 23rd. It was supposed to be the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend like it is each and every year. So this will be the first time since the 40s, I think it was 1946, that it's going to not be on Memorial Day weekend. Obviously the right decision. Everybody's moving things left and right, so you knew this was pretty much inevitable. Baseball could be gearing up for mid-May. So that's interesting that Rod Manfred came out and said that in his interview with Scott Van Pelt last night on SportsCenter. Does he mean gearing up as in, like, starting the season in mid-May, or gearing up as in getting ready in May and maybe they'll start in June? So that's really interesting. And if baseball is started before July 4th, I think that is a win for Major League Baseball. And he also said that there's probably not going to be a 162-game season, which I think is the right thing to do. But even if there's not, I won't be shocked if the World Series and the playoffs are in November rather than October. Mark Cuban made some news by saying that he hopes to resume play in mid-May, and he said that the over-under should be June 1st. I think June 1st is realistic. Nick Costos, who's been a guest on my show before, tweeted and has been saying publicly on his show, You Better You Bet, that believe June 1st could be the day that we have sports back. I think that there's a chance Nick's right. And then Cuban said that June 1st would be his guess of an over-under. So if it is around June 1st, I think that, again, a win. And obviously, there's rumors that the NHL may go straight to the playoffs. Joe Buck said that on the Michael Kay show recently, because obviously Joe Buck's daughter, Trudy, dates Christian Fisher of the Arizona Coyotes, so that's where he would get that inside scoop from. So I believe that hockey would go straight to the playoffs. NBA might do a little bit more regular season, but maybe like 10 games left for each team, and then do playoffs and the finals and everything. And if NHL goes right to the playoffs and the NBA doesn't, that means obviously the two finals in each sport would be at different times. Unless the NBA starts before the NHL, then the NHL starts its playoff season when the NBA goes into the playoffs, and then maybe the two finals would be at the same time as it normally is. And another thing that has been impacted by COVID-19 has been the WNBA draft. They're having it on April 17th without fans and media there. And they're going to have somebody read off the picks. And I don't even know if it's going to be aired on TV. Maybe I'll try to get Jeff Maglicetti on within the next couple weeks, and we'll discuss this. And he'll get into depth about what's next in terms of how are they going to do this draft and whether they're going to start their season on time or not. And that's something that we have not heard yet. All right, baseball latest news. Another thing that Rob Manfred said in the Scott Van Pelt interview is that the Red Sox penalties are to be announced before the season, so they are done with that. He obviously didn't leak them because that would be kind of weird of him to leak it on national TV. I think he'd rather leak it to the media like Jeff Passan or Ken Rosenthal before it would be leaked out on television. I think that is the right thing, just to keep it a secret from the actual TV rather than announce it, they'll probably have the media break it like the media broke Houston's penalties. I think it's going to be similar to Houston. I think Alex Cora is going to get hit hard the most. Obviously, the Red Sox fired him. I think he's going to get a couple years suspension, and I think that the Red Sox will get at least their first round pick, maybe their second round pick taken away as well. But I don't know if they'll do it with the next 2 years like the Astros have. So should be interesting. And another thing I forgot to mention is that MLB is moving their draft to possibly July, and the NHL announced that they're moving all like their scouting things and their draft and their awards shows due to COVID-19 as well. I just forgot to mention that in the previous segment. Opening Day at Home is being aired on a lot of national networks and some of the apps like YouTube and the MLB app. So that's going on today. I'm going to read off the games that they picked. So let me quickly go to Ken Rosenthal's Twitter because he had it, and so did the MLB Twitter feed on the exact list of all the games that they had chosen. I forgot what I picked, but some of them I thought that were going to be games that were not in the century, but it's all from the century. So MLB Network airing opening day games: Yankees Indians 96, Giants Dodgers 2013. So that was the game where Kershaw homered. Giants Diamondbacks 2017. Bumgarner pitched a gem and homered twice in that game. Padres Rockies 05. That was obviously a high scoring affair. Fox Sports 1 tonight. The World Series 2001 Game 7 Yankees Diamondbacks. And 2016 World Series Cubs Indians. And at 6 p.m. on ESPN2, 4 classic home run derby competitions throughout the day. I think the 2015 ones included. I think that was one of the best ones ever with Todd Frazier in there. YouTube aired Brewers NLDS Game 1, 2018. So that was against the Dodgers. Or no, that wasn't the Dodgers. They played the Dodgers in the National Championship. So it was the Rockies. They had a walk-off that day against Colorado. Angels 2018, Trout 5 for 5 at Yankee Stadium. That was a game that was on national TV called by Joe Buck and John Smoltz. Nationals 2019 World Series Game 7. I'm reading off the YouTube list. Cubs 2016 World Series Game 7. Giants 2014 World Series Game 7. MLB Vault. Reds 2019 opening day. That was a classic for them. I believe they had a walk-off. And Orioles 2014 ALDS Game 2. They played the Tigers when the Tigers had Verlander, Price, and Scherzer. And then MLB Facebook, Verlander no-hitter 2007. Cardinals 2011 World Series Game 6. Yankees 2003 ALCS Game 7. That's the Aaron Boone home run. Red Sox 2004 ALCS Game 4. Obviously, the Dave Roberts deal, the game that pretty much changed the history of the Red Sox in a weird way. Now looking back, one of the biggest games in their franchise's history, which propelled them to come back down from 0-3 to beat the Yankees. Diamondbacks 2001 Game 7. That's obviously going to be on TV as well. And then Las Mayoras Facebook. Indians 2017's 22nd straight win. I remember they had that big winning streak, and that 22nd straight win was a walk-off win, if I'm not mistaken. Blue Jays 2015 ALDS Game 5. That was the game where Jose Bautista hit that tie-breaking home run in Toronto, and the debris went flying. Mariners King Felix 2012 perfect game. I believe that was against the Tampa Bay Rays. Marlins 2003 World Series Game 6. That was against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Josh Beckett. Rangers 2010 ALCS Game 6. That was against the Yankees. And Twitter MLB, Phillies Harper walk-off grand slam. So that was this past year against the Cubs. Astros Verlander no-hitter 2019. Rockies Arenado 2017 Father's Day walk-off. Mets 2015 NLDS Game 5. That was DeGrom against Kershaw in Dodger Stadium in 2015. I believe it was Kershaw. It might have been Greinke, but I know DeGrom pitched in that game. And then Dodgers Kershaw 2014 no-hitter. That was a fun game to follow. And then Las Mayores on Twitter, Pirates 2013 wild card. That was the Cueto game from the Chants, and Russell Martin was on that team. Twins 2019 game 163. That was the play-in game for the right to play the Yankees. It was them against the Tigers. Braves 2018 NLDS game 3. That was against the Dodgers. Royals 2015 World Series game 5 in Citi Field against the Mets. And Padres 2019 epic comeback from behind win. That was against the Rockies. And then the cut for on Twitter, Rays 2011 game 162. That was against the Yankees. The Evan Longoria walk-off game. White Sox 2009 Mark Burley perfect game. That was against the Rays. And Athletics 2002's 20th straight victory. So a lot of great memorable games chosen by Major League Baseball to re-air on various different platforms throughout the day. Now I'm going to talk Masked Singer from last night. A fun show. I was correct about which singer would be sent home, which was the T-Rex. I thought it was Nia Frazier of Dance Moms. Jenny, Nicole, and Robin all thought it was JoJo Siwa, formerly of Dance Moms, and she's a superstar singer now. And Ken Jeong went with Robin's original guess of Liza Koshy. The guest judge on the show last night was Will Arnett, who's the host of Lego Masters. He guessed Tara Lipinski, and who was it? JoJo Siwa. So the 3 judges were right. I'm disappointed in myself a little bit because obviously I did my show 2 weeks ago from Florida, and it was when they unveiled Group C, and I had my guess of Nia, and then I was listening to Dance Moms cast of back in the day, the original cast, and some of the people that joined in along the way, and what are they doing now? And I mentioned JoJo Siwa, and I never really thought of her for T-Rex. And I'm really disappointed in myself for that. Because JoJo's a megastar. Like, I talked about her on my show a few weeks ago. And how she's a megastar. And she's met everybody. And she's touring. And she's big on Nickelodeon. So, I'm disappointed in myself for not thinking about JoJo Siwa originally for the T-Rex. Alright, the other 3 contestants, and by the way, they did a group song performance to Jennifer Lopez's Let's Get Loud. And by the way, we'll get to T-Rex's performance in a couple seconds. I'm just going to go through her clues. She had a bonus clue unveiled during Let's Get Loud, and it was occasionally plays with teddy bears. If you follow JoJo on social media, like she always would post photos of her with teddy bears, so that makes a lot of sense. And in the clue package, there's hints about being a perfectionist. There's a plane, which obviously was a hint towards her touring. A Northwest thing in the compass, and obviously she used to babysit Kim Kardashian's dog, Northwest, so that's where that hint came from. And she performed the Jai-Ho by the Pussycat Dolls, a song that they did with Slim Dog Millionaire back in 2009. And obviously after JoJo got unmasked, she performed that, and she had Nicole on stage with her, which was pretty neat. So I'm sure that was a fun moment for JoJo Siwa. And by the way, before the final guess is Will Arnett guessed Gabby Douglas, and Ken Jeong guessed Honey Boo Boo, which was the worst guess of the episode, in my opinion. The Night Angel performed first. Her bonus clue during Let's Get Loud was always had fishy. Always had been fishy. This is somebody that's been doing what she's been doing since a teenager. There's a hint about an astronomy quiz with an A+. And by the way, the hints after the performances were Legos in honor of Will Arnett being there. And Night Angel's Lego hint was Good Times. And she said, Say My Name. Say My Name is a Destiny's Child song. And I think this is Kelly Rowland. And she was just absolutely sensational last night. She performed an old school song. I think it was Let's Groove by Earth, Wind, Fire. It was either Let's Groove or September or Wonderland. It was one of those oldie but goodie kind of songs. I just can't think of which one. Jenny McCarthy guessed Toni Braxton. Nicole stuck with her Taraji P. Henson guess. Will Arnett guessed Janet Jackson. I just don't think that's Janet's voice. I'm sticking with my Kelly Rowland guess, although she was so good. Like, are we sure it's not Beyonce? I don't think it's Beyonce, but I won't be flabbergasted if it is Beyonce. But I'm just going to stick with my Kelly Rowland guess. Astronaut, his bonus clue during Let's Get Loud was All for Horses. There's a only human clue. That made me second guess my initial Jesse McCartney guess. I think it's Kevin Jonas. Only human really swayed me to guessing him. And there was a bye 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 hint too, which made me thinking NSYNC. So are you sure it's not Jesse Chavez or heck, dare I say Justin Timberlake? I don't think it's Justin Timberlake. I think that'd be crazy if it was Justin. And the Lego clue was a mall and a Lego with astronaut with Nicole. And he said that they were together to celebrate a huge birthday. And they said mall on it, which was weird. And Pussycat Dolls and when Jonas Brothers first became famous were famous at the same time, so that makes me lean towards Kevin Jonas. Ken Jeong guessed Eddie Vedder. Will guessed J.C. Chavez, and Robin stuck with his Joseph Gordon-Levitt guess. And I'm surprised that Ken went away from his original Donald Glover guess. And T-Rex's Lego clue, by the way, was related to Lego Batman, and with Will as the hint towards, and obviously he had an event for the Lego Batman, and JoJo Siwa was at that event. She talked about that after she got unmasked last night. And then Rhino went last. His bonus clue during Let's Get Loud was doesn't enjoy walks in cold weather, which I thought was weird. This was somebody that's rose to the top, received criticism. There was a surfing hint. There was 3 quarters with an up arrow. There was a fruit in there, looked like an orange. There was a Missouri crown. Like, Missouri, that's weird. That might be a throw-off. And then he said, Heart on Your Sleeve, which is obviously a lyric line in the song Beautiful Crazy by Luke Combs. That was weird. The Lego clue was the number 1,000 and said he was on the same track as Robin. I think, as of right now, Tim Tebow, the ex-Florida quarterback, obviously Florida surfing, you surf in Florida, formerly of the Broncos and the Jets and the Patriots. Could be Peyton Manning, but I'm going to go with Tebow as of right now. Robin Thicke said Will Ferrell. Ken Jeong said David Hasselhoff, which I got to plug Ken Jeong. Not a bad guess because obviously he was involved with surfing as well. And Will jokingly guessed himself, which I thought was stupid. So yeah, fun episode last night of The Masked Singer, and obviously on Wednesday, a 2-hour show, which starts off the Super 9. So that should be fun. So the Super 9, you have Night Angel, you have the Rhino, you got Astronaut, Banana, Kitty, Frog, Turtle, White Tiger, and the Kangaroo. If I had to pick a front runner right now, by the way, I'd pick the Night Angel. I think she's excellent. Alrighty. Lego Masters last night, fun show. Predictable too. I thought that Tyler and Amy had the best build of last night, and they obviously won. In second place came Mark and Boone. Aaron and Christian got voted off, but that was my pick before the show on yesterday's podcast to go home. But after watching the show, I thought that Sam and goodness, I'm blanking on Sam's partner's name. I thought that Sam and Jessica were going to go home. So, and ended up being Aaron and Christian. So the top 3 left are Tyler and Amy, Sam and Jessica, and Mark and Boone. No Lego Masters next week because Masked Singer's 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks from today, we'll be talking about the top 2 on Lego Masters for sure. And I think that Tyler and Amy are the frontrunners to win the competition, and they've been the best builders on the show thus far. And I got to give credit to Sam and Jessica. They've come a long way on this show after being at risk the first 2 weeks. I know they were at risk last week, but I think they come a long way, especially being after at risk the first 2 weeks. Being in the top 3 is really good. Tyler and Amy won the last 2. Mark and Boone came in second, and after for a couple weeks there, they were on a nice little win streak here. So I think it's going to come down to Mark and Boone and Tyler and Amy for the win on Lego Masters. Next, I'm going to do my NFL mock draft, my third one. I haven't done one since January. I know February was a crazy month. Doing a lot of NCAA tournament prep, which obviously the tournament didn't happen. And now I can get back to focus on the draft, which is supposed to take place in 4 weeks from today, April 23rd, but it's obviously not going to be your typical draft. So without further ado, here we go, my third edition of the 2020 NFL mock draft. Number 1, Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, quarterback, LSU. After what was a breakout season which led him to a Heisman Trophy, Burrow emerged as a favorite to go first overall in this upcoming draft. The Bengals want to move on from Andy Dalton and want to start fresh here with Burrow, whose second-year coach, Zach Taylor, could help develop into the franchise quarterback the team is looking for. 2, Washington Redskins. Chase Young, defensive end, Ohio State. Young is the best player in this draft, and he falls outside the top spot due to the Bengals' quarterback need. The Redskins need a lot of young talent on both ends of the ball, and Young would have an immediate impact in the league, chasing the likes of Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, and Daniel Jones twice a season. 3, Detroit Lions. Jeff Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State. This is an interesting spot because this is a spot where someone could trade up for a quarterback and the Lions could get a nice haul back. The Lions are a team in dire need of secondary help after the trading of Darius Slay, although they did sign Desmond Trufant, and Okudah is the best defensive back in this draft. 4, New York Giants. Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle, Louisville. The Giants' 2 biggest needs are pass rush and offensive line. Here they snag the tackle to help protect second-year quarterback Daniel Jones. Becton is somebody that stock has absolutely risen and has become the consensus top offensive lineman in the draft. 5, Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama. Many people thought at this time 6 months ago we'd be writing this selection, except in the number 1 spot. Tagovailoa drops to 5th, barring the Dolphins or somebody else trading up. Obviously, due to his hip injury he suffered in November that ended his college career. If he reaches his potential, the Dolphins get a steal here with the guy they've coveted for over a year now. 6. Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon. With the Phillip Rivers era over, the Chargers look to draft their quarterback of the future. Herbert is somebody that could have declared last season, but stayed at school one more season to try to improve his stock. But I feel that he would have been a first-round pick last season, too. 7. Carolina Panthers. Isaiah Simmons, linebacker, defensive back, Clemson. After the unexpected retirement of Luke Kuechly, the Panthers suddenly have a gaping hole in their front seven. Enter Simmons, somebody who is versatile due to his ability to rush the passer and defend the pass, and the Panthers do have a secondary need too, which could help fill two needs. 8. Arizona Cardinals. Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle, Iowa. With the Cardinals acquiring DeAndre Hopkins, they turn their focus on the offensive line where they select Wirfs. He's somebody that can conceivably go as high as 4th due to his stock rising, and he could play right away, helping Kyler Murray stay upright. 9. Jacksonville Jaguars. Derek Brown, defensive tackle, Auburn. With all the losses the Jags have suffered on the defensive line, Brown is a logical choice here. There will be people arguing quarterback here, but I have a feeling that they are targeting next year for that, headlined by Clemson's Trevor Lawrence. 10. Cleveland Browns. Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, Georgia. Thomas was somebody I had going 4th the last time I did a mock draft, but his stock has dropped quite a bit. The Browns did add Jack Conklin in free agency to solidify one tackle spot, but if they take Thomas to hold down the other spot, it's a win for Baker Mayfield and the Browns. 11. New York Jets. Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, Alabama. This would be a steal here for the Jets, who would get arguably the best receiver prospect since Calvin Johnson over a decade ago. Outside of Le'Veon Bell, the Jets don't have many skilled position guys, and Jeudy would help Sam Darnold develop into the quarterback many people expect him to be. 12. Las Vegas Raiders. CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, Oklahoma. The Raiders have needs on both sides of the ball, and here I have them snagging a great wideout prospect in Lamb. He is somebody that has wide receiver 1 potential on any roster, and he would make Derek Carr better and would make Hunter Renfrow and Tyrell Williams the team's 2nd and 3rd wide receivers, respectively. 13. San Francisco 49ers from the Indianapolis Colts. Jedrick Wills Jr., offensive tackle, Alabama. The 49ers acquired this pick in the deal that sent pass rusher DeForest Buckner to the Colts, which they have a need there now, too. But here I have them snagging Wills, who is a plug-and-play offensive lineman that could replace the aging Joe Staley down the road. 14. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Javon Kinlaw, defensive lineman, South Carolina. The Bucs go with Kinlaw here after the Niners snag Wills, who would fill a need protecting Tom Brady. Or who would have filled a need protecting Tom Brady. The Bucs did bring back Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh, but Kinlaw is somebody that provides versatility and only makes a solid front seven even better. 15. Denver Broncos. Henry Ruggs IV, wide receiver, Alabama. The Broncos have had an excellent offseason thus far, but a need that still needs to be filled is receiver opposite Cortland Sutton. Ruggs was the 3rd option for Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama, and imagine what he could be as a co-top option for Drew Lock in Denver. 16. Atlanta Falcons. C.J. Henderson, cornerback, Florida. With the release of Desmond Trufant, the Falcons have a major need at cornerback. Henderson is somebody that had a solid season in college this past year, and he'll come in and start right away. 17. Dallas Cowboys. Kalavsin Chiasson, defensive end, LSU. This would make a lot of sense for the Cowboys as Chiasson would replace the departed Robert Quinn. Chiasson is somebody that was a sack machine in college and could make an instant impact in the pros. 18. Miami Dolphins. From the Pittsburgh Steelers. Xavier McKinney, safety, Alabama. With their 2nd first-round pick they received in the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, the Dolphins take the fast-rising safety in McKinney. He is somebody that can do a lot on the field and would really help the Dolphins secondary along with new pickup Byron Jones. 19. Las Vegas Raiders from the Chicago Bears. Kristen Fulton, cornerback, LSU. The Raiders have addressed some of their needs in free agency, but missing out on Byron Jones in free agency has them left hanging in the secondary. Fulton is somebody that has size and athleticism and was overshadowed in LSU secondary due to the presence of Grant Delpit. 20. Jacksonville Jaguars from the Los Angeles Rams. Trevon Diggs, cornerback, Alabama. The Jaguars secondary needs to be addressed after the trading of Jalen Ramsey, so they used the pick they got in the Ramsey deal from the Rams to somewhat replace him. Diggs is someone that has shown physicality and imposing length to be a top corner on a team. 21, Philadelphia Eagles. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, LSU. The two biggest needs for the Eagles this offseason were cornerback and wide receiver. With Darius Slay coming in to fill the need at corner, they look to receiver and take the former LSU standout who showed off his ability to make big plays throughout the season. 22, Minnesota Vikings from the Buffalo Bills. A.J. Terrell, cornerback, Clemson. The Vikings are a team that went from having literally zero needs to a team with a lot of needs, especially on defense due to some free agent losses and cuts. With Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, and Mackenzie Alexander all gone, they take Terrell with the pick they got in the Stephon Diggs deal. And Terrell is someone who's big and physical, and he would bring a new blood to this defense. 23, New England Patriots. Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State. With Tom Brady off to the Buccaneers, the current quarterbacks on the Pats roster are Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer. Now is the time to look to the future. Love is someone that is very raw and has high upside. 24, New Orleans Saints. T. Higgins, wide receiver, Clemson. The Saints did a nice job snagging Emmanuel Sanders to go with Michael Thomas, but the idea of drafting a young receiver to go with them to help Drew Brees is enticing. Higgins is someone that has the size, length, and athleticism to be a number one receiver someday and has been one of Trevor Lawrence's best targets over the past 2 seasons at Clemson. 25, Minnesota Vikings. Laviska Shenault, wide receiver, Colorado. With the trading of Stephon Diggs, the Vikings draft his replacement here with Shenault. He is somebody that has a ton of upside and has a lot of qualities to be an impact receiver. 26, Miami Dolphins from the Houston Texans. Austin Jackson, offensive tackle, USC. With their third first rounder, they take Jackson to help their quarterback, whether it's Tua or somebody else. Jackson is somebody that stood out this past season and could come in and start immediately. 27, Seattle Seahawks. Yetur Gross-Matos, defensive end, Penn State. Gross-Matos' stock has dropped after being projected to be in the top 15. The Seahawks have a pass rush need, assuming they don't bring back Jadeveon Clowney, and Gross-Matos would help them. 28, the Baltimore Ravens. Kenneth Murray, inside linebacker, Oklahoma. With a stout defensive line in front of him, Murray would be an ideal situation here in Baltimore. The Ravens have yet to address the inside linebacker position in free agency, and he would be a solid fit here. 29, Tennessee Titans. A.J. Epenza, defensive end, Iowa. The Titans have a glaring need at pass rush now with Jarrell Casey traded away to Denver. Epenza is somebody that is great on the edge and would have a nice impact. 30, Green Bay Packers. Denzel Mims, wide receiver, Baylor. The Packers don't have any scary threats at wide receiver other than Devontae Adams, and Mims would certainly help them. He would certainly be their second best receiver if he was their choice here. 31, San Francisco 49ers. Raekwon Davis, defensive tackle, Alabama. The 49ers suddenly have a need in the middle of their defensive line after the trading of DeVaris Buckner. Davis is somebody that can play nose and stop the run. 32, Kansas City Chiefs. Damon Arnette, cornerback, Ohio State. The Chiefs do have needs, especially on defense. With Kendall Fuller departed to Washington, they take Arnette here to replace him. He is somebody that his stock is rising and has played on good teams in college. All right, first mock draft in a while is done. And now I'm going to do my top players of 2019 in Major League Baseball. Top 10. 10, Marcus Semien, Oakland Athletics. I really think that he had a career year this past year, so I won't be shocked if we see regression from Semien, who I don't think is the best player on the Athletics, but he certainly was arguably their best player in 2019, and I think he was. So he earned that spot on this list. 9, DJ LeMahieu, New York Yankees. He's somebody else that had a career year this past year, and I think could see some regression, although I do still expect him to be a solid contributor for the Yankees in 2020. And he's somebody that really held the fort for them offensively when they had guys injured last year. 8, Alex Bregman, Houston Astros. I considered not putting on Astros position players due to the cheating scandal, due to their punishment. But you can't ignore the season Alex Bregman had this past season, as he arguably should have been the American League MVP. 7, Anthony Rendon, Los Angeles Angels, formerly of the Washington Nationals. He had a fantastic year and was in the running for National League MVP a year ago, which earned him that big contract with the Angels, and certainly was a big part of the Nationals' run to the World Series. 6, Steven Strasburg, Washington Nationals. The reigning World Series MVP has absolutely earned a spot on this list. He helped the Nationals get to that elusive championship. And number 5, Max Scherzer, Washington Nationals. Same thing, helped the Nationals get to that championship, although he had some struggles in the season, but he stepped up when it mattered the most in the playoffs. 4, Jacob deGrom, New York Mets, the back-to-back reigning National League Cy Young winner, gets a spot on this list. Arguably the best pitcher in baseball, certainly in the National League right now. Number 3, Garrett Cole, New York Yankees, formerly of the Houston Astros. Had a fantastic year this past year to solidify himself. That big contract he got from the Yankees. He should have been the AL Cy Young winner, but they gave it to his teammate Verlander instead. For whatever reason, I don't know. But should have been Cole. I think he's the best pitcher in the game right now, and there's a reason why many people expect him to win the American League Cy Young this upcoming season, assuming we have one. 2, Cody Bellinger, Los Angeles Dodgers. Had the best year of his career, which led him to earning the National League MVP honors. And number 1, Mike Trout, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Certainly had one of his best years ever, winning the American League MVP. I don't think he should have won the MVP because I'm somebody that is against giving MVPs to players on losing teams. But this is individual players, not players based on winning and whatnot. Although the Nationals really did earn my respect with 3 guys in the top 10. And your reigning AL champion, Houston Astros, has 2 guys. There's a lot of guys that are on good teams. DeGrom certainly wasn't on a good Mets team last year, although they did win 86 games. But a lot of those, so some of those wins were at the end of the season where they were out of the race, sort of. And Trout, obviously on a bad Angels team, but certainly is the best player in baseball today. Reigning AL MVP, so he was my choice for the top Major League Baseball player of 2019. All right, tomorrow's show should be fun. We're going to do, I believe I wanted to do the top NBA players of 2019. Maybe we'll do something else. That's to be determined. Latest with the coronavirus, latest in any sports news, whether it's NFL free agency or any pop culture news I have for you, then we'll talk about it. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.